We're following multiple major stories in Minot. First off, we're learning more details on the investigation into Minot Police Chief Chief Klug following the release of a lengthy report on Friday. The report from the outside investigator indicates that Minot council members Rob Fuller and Scott Samuelson, who were elected in June, would not back funding for police department renovations unless morale issues brought to them were addressed first. One of the key issues was not firing a now former officer for a series of issues, including losing heroin from a training kit for canine officers. The investigator did not uncover inconsistent discipline, but said that Chief Klug should have communicated more with City Manager Harold Stewart. Now, the report details interviews with dozens of current and former employees of the police department, including Chief Klug, along with his attorney. Klug addressed a myriad of issues, including his handling of disciplinary matters, training, and morale. In the report, Klug says Fuller is not following procedure and should be bringing matters to the city manager. The report also states, quote, Chief Klug points out that no one has appealed discipline or filed a grievance. At the time discussions regarding conduct occur, people act like everyone understands the process. He states that he has done the best that he could. Now, we have the full report on our website, yournewsleader.com. Klug remains on administrative leave and no action has been taken yet on the report's recommendations. We do hope to hear from Fuller and Stewart later this week on the report and the next steps.